Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Out on the edge of the battle and back, we've carried the weight and we've walked every track. From desert dust to the fire at home, we've learned how to fight, how to stand alone. But no one tells you what comes after the war. When silence is louder than the guns we bore, that's where we speak, that's where we heal. Stories too real for Hollywood reels. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, when warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. It ain't all medals and waving flags. There's pain in the silence and weight in the bags. But we've got a mic and a mission to share, to tell the damn truth, cause somebody's gotta care. We laugh, we cry, we cuss, we pray. We honor the ones who ain't here today. From basic to battle and back to the block, this is our rhythm of round table talk. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, when warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. Still heavy in dreams out of reach, full of lessons the textbooks could never teach. We're sounding off, no filter, no prep. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. So if you're born with boots or love someone who did, if you swallowed your hurt and kept it all hid, pull up a chair, you're not alone. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, where courage meets scars and raw honesty. This is our anthem, our truth intercept. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the ones still standing and those we've lost yet, for every single story we'll never forget. We speak so others won't forget. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. Real talk, real facts, real life. HomeFront Sitrep podcast, where the mission continues.
Welcome, everybody, to a Sunday edition of HomeFront Sitrep. How is everybody doing? I'm doing all right. As you see, Gunny's not here tonight. He's still in the process of traveling. He'll be back tomorrow. He might even be home now, but he's got to do some rest up. Been a busy week for Gunny. I mean, it's opening week of college football. Actually, second week, ain't it? But he's been super busy with college football and everything, with Team Fast Tracks, the professional parachute company that he works for, or volunteers for, should I say, because he don't work, he volunteers. It's part of the Blue Skies for the Good Guys and Gals Warrior Foundation, which is a 501c3. And they jump into sports stadiums throughout the college football season and other things that they do throughout the season to raise money for the Warrior Weekend and stuff like that for the Blue Skies, for the Good Guys and Gals Warrior Foundation. So, but you get me tonight, and we got a special guest tonight. We got a Navy veteran with 20 years of service, a professional experience spanning the U.S. military, the intelligence community, and federal law enforcement. And we'll get into Mr. Kevin Brewer here in just a minute and talk a little bit about what he's doing, what he did in service, what he's doing now post-service, and his journey, his transition. It's going to be a wonderful story. So if you're out there and about, you're watching now, you're watching later, whether you're watching on TikTok, which if you're on TikTok, hi, Devney, I see you there. If you're on TikTok, don't be alarmed. The guests won't be able to see your comments. Only I can. So don't be alarmed if he don't respond to your questions, and hopefully I can catch them as they're flowing through the screen there on TikTok. But we'll see. We will see. So my week, man, let me tell you, this week has been uh, the weather here in Kentucky has been awesome. And then this weekend, I did my family thing Friday night, Saturday night. Um, or yesterday, I DJ'd a wedding down in Grayson County. It was a beautiful day for a wedding. I was down there DJing for Cindy and Tom. Didn't know him from a hill of bean, and they're an hour and a half away from me. And I went down and DJ'd their wedding. Beautiful wedding. It's an outdoor wedding. They were really worried about the weather, but the weather held out, and it was a beautiful day. So that was fun. And then today we're back on the podcast. I'm excited. We didn't have any for Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend was amazing. Uh, we got to go to the EKU U of L football game with my wife and two daughters who Grace came in from college, her first weekend that she was able to come home from college as starting as a freshman. So that was amazing to get to spend time with them. We went tailgating with some friends and had a great time. I tell you what, it was amazing. But now we're back at the grind of doing the whole podcast thing. I responded to uh 18, 19 different emails of potential guests to come on the show. So September is completely booked. October is almost completely booked. So I got November and then a few shows in December. And then Gunny and I, we're going to get together and we're going to do something we've never done on Homefront Sit Rep is the last 4 episodes, which we always do a recorded episode of the last 4 episodes because we take a 2-week break for Christmas and New Year's and all that. We're going to do a recap. So we're going to do a recap of, the first quarter, second quarter, and talk about all the guests that we've had on the show this year. Exciting things are coming for Homefront Sit Rep. We with the new partnership with MOA that's coming up. That's super exciting. We're also looking for sponsors. So if you're out there and you want to sponsor a veteran podcast, if you go to feedspot.com or go to Google and type in 100 best veteran podcasts, Homefront Sit Rep has been in the top 10 for the last year and a half, 2 years. Currently, we're sitting at 4, I believe is number 4. And then we were number 3, and then we dropped down because we didn't upload some episodes. But hell, we were number 9 or number 1 for almost a full year, which I'm okay. I top top 10 is awesome. I love being in the top 10. And then millionpodcast.com, which is another link down below. We're number 17 on that list. We started out in, I think, the 80 range. I'm not for sure exactly where, but we were in the 80 range. And we slowly started climbing up. And last I looked, we were 17 or 18th on that list, which is awesome for us because it helps us bring in great nonprofits and great veterans to tell their story because every veteran has a story to tell. And we look for these nonprofits, the mom and pop, the grassroots that people in Kentucky might not hear about Montana Warriors in the Water or, the Hope Project down in Florida or Warriors Next Adventure in Minnesota. All these little mom and pop grassroots that still care about us as veterans. That's what we're looking for. If you're out there, that's who we're looking for to be on our show to tell the story and your why and why you continue the mission that you do within your organization or your daily life. If you're a veteran out there and you give back by volunteering to veteran nonprofits, whether it's disabled American veterans, the American Legion, or the VFW Post, whatever, however you give back to your brothers and sisters out there, we want to tell your story because like I said, every veteran has a story to tell. So that is awesome. If you're out there watching right now, we have quite a few people out there watching. Go ahead and chat there and tell me where you are and who you are. We got several people on TikTok as well that are watching right now. So thank you guys for coming on here and hanging out with us. But here, let me read you a little bit about Kevin here, who's getting ready to come on, and he's going to talk about rise again from the struggle. So, like I said, 20 years of service, professional experience spanning the U.S. military and intelligence community and federal law enforcement. Um, he developed deep expertise in leadership management, all source analysis, and small group training, skills forged in high pressure environments with clarity, resilience, and divisive action were critical. So, this right here is going to be an amazing episode because he's going to tell us how he overcame the trials and tribulations of serving in the military, getting out of the military, and dealing with the stuff that he's dealt with throughout his transition from the military. So, with without further ado, let's bring Mr. Kevin Brewer up to the stage. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Doing well, man. How you doing?
Man, I am doing awesome. Thank you for coming on here and hanging out with us. Ooh, what happened there? There we go. Thank you for coming out here and hanging out with us. I know you just got back from your trip that you were on. Thanks for coming out, spending this next hour with me, and
Yeah.
talking about yourself.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, do me a favor and introduce yourself to the world of HomeFront Sitrep, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Brewer. Spent 7 years in the Navy and then I got out. It's a funny transition story there. It was unexpected getting out. I didn't get kicked out, but that messed up my contract as I was coming back from Afghanistan, and got out about a year earlier than I expected to. Went back to Illinois for a little bit while I got my feet under me again. Came back out to the DC area, got a job in the contracting world and government side, and been here ever since, working government contracting, and now I'm with the DOJ, about to get riffed, but potentially go on with HSI afterwards. So we'll see what happens, but that's the long and short of it.
Is it so with the DOJ? Is it kind of scary to? You said you're getting ready to get riffed. What does that mean in civilian terms?
Reduction in force, so we're getting fired. Basically, they're getting rid of our entire organization for some random reason. Very unexpected.
So they're basically just cutting back and doing away with it and putting that work on somebody else.
Yeah. They're just. It's weird because they're just basically putting in another organization to do the exact same thing. So it was kind of really confusing when it happened, how it happened. So
awesome. So what did you do in the Navy when you were in the Navy? What was your job? What was your specialty?
I was CTT was my rate. So cryptologic technician technical, basically non-communication intelligence signals. So radar based stuff mostly.
Okay.
So I did intel side. So we did collection and just studied it basically, and just went and did collection and then analysis of that.
So, all right, let's talk about your transition a little bit. When you got out of the military, you said you got out a year earlier than expected.
Yeah.
How was your transition, and what were some of the challenges you faced when getting out of the military?
So right as I was getting out, it was really a year. So I got back in 2000 and I think it was 8 from Afghanistan. And shortly after that, so I started having a bunch of health issues that doctors couldn't figure out, and which lasted about 13 years. So just continuously getting worse and worse and worse. Had a lot of neurologic issues that turned out to be cervical instability that I had to fight probably 100 plus doctors on, and figure it out myself basically, and get to a doctor that could finally help me out of pocket. And so when I got back from Afghanistan, though, they extended my enlistment, extended my tour, but didn't extend my enlistment. But they didn't tell me that. And of course, I was just trying to get back from Afghanistan and, and just figure out what's going on and get back to, normal life. So you assume they're doing the paperwork right. And and they didn't. So I found that out as I was getting ready to go to Denver to do a special project for the admiral that I was working for at the time. And right about that same time, the Navy decided my rate was overmanned, so they weren't doing extensions anymore. So they wanted me to reenlist, and I was like, and now if I reenlist right now, I'll have zero say in where I'm going to go next. I was having health problems anyway. I was like, it's just not in the cards. Had a chief tell me when I was my first tour, said, hey, the only reason he was still in was because the Navy never got an upper hand on him. And he said, if the Navy ever gets the upper hand on you, it's time to get out, because they will just send you wherever the hell they want to. So I kind of took that for heart, and I was absolutely probably the best decision I could have made at the time. So that's how I got out. At the time, 2009, the economy was really bad and everything. My command senior chief at the time tried to stiff arm me into staying in, because of course the retention numbers were looking bad, and so they were trying to get me to stay in. And I was like, no, it's just like, well, but the economy and this and this. And I was like, yeah, I'm not that concerned about it. I'll figure it out. And so I didn't have a job. Obviously, I was unexpected getting out. I believed I was under contract for 1 more year. I found out about 3 months before that I was getting out. So I started doing job interviews, stuff like that. I went back to Illinois for a little bit, where I'm from, and started just going up to Chicago via train, do some career fairs. I came back out here to the DC area because I was a where I was stationed at the time. And when I got out, and my first class that I worked for here, I did come back and stay with him for a while, and go to job interviews and stuff, or career fairs, things like that. And eventually got a contract for a 1-year contract for basically what's it called, detainees, the former detainees. They were going through the watch listing stuff for the detainees and seeing if any of them were actually terrorists and things like that, and just seeing if they deserved to be on the watch list or not. So it was a quick 1-year contract, and I just kept moving place to place after that for a while. I just figured it out from there. So
Nice. So are you the founder of Rise Again from the Struggle? I'm assuming you're the founder of that organization, correct?
yeah, yep, that's me.
So let's talk about that in your journey, because your journey, it said you lost 90 pounds. Now,
Yep.
was that because medical reasons, or because of the journey that you started?
Yeah, this is because of the journey I started. So I got up to 240 because I had, of course, being prior athlete, military or in high school and everything. I was athlete and got into the Navy, did all that stuff. I started having health issues when I got back from Afghanistan, and I couldn't work out. I had effectively the signs and symptoms of a heart attack and a stroke every single day. My heart rate was just constantly elevated. I couldn't really use my left arm. I couldn't really do anything physical, and it just kept getting worse and progressively worse for 13 years. Had a ton of neurologic issues. By the end, I had multiple panic attacks every single day. I could barely get to and from work. And by the time I got to work, I'd have a panic attack. My body was just shutting down. I was driving to work with ice packs, like multiple ice packs, heating pad plugged in, and those TENS machines, those stimulators.
Yeah.
All of that going at the same time. I'd have the stuff at work. I'd have another heating pad at work. I'd rotate ice packs at work, had the TENS machine on, all the stuff. I was struggling hard, and I was done. I was, if I wasn't afraid of dying at that point, I absolutely would have pulled the trigger. No doubt about it. So I'm not saying that's a good choice. I'm just saying I understand it a lot of times. And unfortunately, it's just because people they're just dismissed. I mean, I saw doctor after doctor after doctor, and none of them listened to me. None of them gave a shit for them. I shouldn't say none of them. Very few of them actually cared, and most of them just dismissed me. So I just kept fighting. Eventually, I'd kind of given up. I was having another episode in my closet one day, and I just said, screw it, I'm just going to lay here and die. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm not going to go to the hospital. All they're going to do is tell me the same thing. It's anxiety, it's PTSD, it's whatever. They're not going to help me. They're just going to give me another pill. They're not going to figure out what it is. And that's it. So I said, at the time I wasn't definitely not religious or anything like that, but I said, God, I don't do this. I don't ever talk to you. And I know I've been dismissive or whatever. I was like, but if you let me live through this, I'll figure it out and I'll start helping people out. And he let me live, and I said, you know what? All right. So I started putting my skills to test. Right about that time, COVID happened, so I was able to end up having the ability to stay home and get paid. Thankfully, for me, because I was actually right before the COVID shutdowns happened, I went to work and I told my boss, I said, I can't work anymore. I was like, by the time I get here, my body shuts down and I just can't function. And again, so thankfully COVID, and for me, thankfully COVID happened. They shut us down. I was able to get paid just at home. So I said, all right, you know what? I have this opportunity. I don't know, what I'm looking at in my MRIs, but I know how to do analysis. So I can look at two different things and say what looks different. I started pulling up my MRIs. I started going through them, started looking at stuff online, said, hey, what looks different from what looks supposedly normal online? And started asking questions. I got on Reddit. There's a subreddit called Ask Docs. I post pictures on there and say, hey, I see this little weird thing in my MRI. Can somebody explain it to me? I got some answers there. Found some stuff on Facebook. Found a bunch of articles. Argued with more and more doctors too. Got no help from most of those doctors. Eventually found this article that talked about these two problems I had found in my MRIs that suggested that I had cervical instability, which was basically the ligaments that hold the neck or the skull onto the neck were loose. So whenever I would look up or move my head or whatever, I was effectively crushing my brainstem and my spinal cord. Found a doctor in Colorado that specializes in that, using stem cells to fix it and naturally. I don't know if you say stem cells naturally, but using your own stem cells. But
Right.
so it actually tightens it back up, and then you strengthen it after that. Went and did all that out of pocket, and So I mean, before I started that process, I was basically only able to go from my couch to my fridge. I went from being athletic to being severely overweight. I was 240 plus pounds. I was about to go into a size 50 pant. And I just felt disgusting during this process as I was starting to figure out what was going on or going through that process. I also looked into just mental skills training, mental performance. And I just started learning that first. And then I just started applying it myself and said, okay, well, one of the excuses doctors keep trying to tell me, I was like pre-diabetic. I was, I was on a bunch of pills. I had psoriasis and turned into psoriatic arthritis. So I was on anti-rheumatic drugs for that. And I said, all right, well, I can take away the excuse of being obese. So let me figure that out. I started figuring out my habits with that, just implying this mental performance skills into that. Started fixing my eating habits and my mental thought processes. And, even though I was still having panic attacks, I was able to get out of them quicker. I still have some of those, because one of my, I'm 100% VA disabled. And one of the disabilities that got me to that point was general anxiety disorder. I mean, I teach this stuff now, but people will always try to say like, well, then you're over it. It's like, no, the disabled part of it is that my brain automatically still goes to it.
Yes.
I just now have an idea that it happens, and I know how to functionally get out of it quicker,
Right.
and get back to a normal thought process. It's quick, it's immediate. It jumps to it though. It's the first thing. It's like every time I get any kind of nag or pain in my chest, immediately my brain goes, "You're having a heart attack, dipshit. You're dying, right?" So it's like I have to okay, calm down. You're not dying. Let's figure out what's going. Did you do something earlier that you're right? I have to step back and go, okay, so I can get out of it a lot faster. Which it used to just go into straight panic, right? And then panic attack, and then it take a small problem and amplify it 20 times. So now I can walk through it and go, okay, let me start asking questions first rather than staying straight into fight or flight. I can get out of that and start asking myself questions. So that was the big part of it. So anyway, so I went from 240 down to like 215 just by getting those habits under control with my eating. Then I started messing around with like quality of foods and timing and things like that with like some intermittent fasting, and really got my ability to like control what goes in my mouth under control. I ended up losing 90 pounds just doing that. I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. So I 100% tell you right now, like your weight is controlled via your diet. That's it. Like you get what goes in your mouth under control, like your weight's going to be under control. And that's going to change from person to person in terms of what you specifically need.
Right.
And that's the big part is a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, I'm doing everything right. It's like, maybe you're doing what somebody else told you was right for them.
Right.
And you're not getting that individualized, which you have to go through that. You have to test things because I can tell you what I've done, but I have to help you test and iterate yourself to like say, hey, this may have worked for me, but for you, these specific foods may not work. Now the concept works, but the specifics of it may not work.
Yeah, that's like, so I did the keto diet and it worked. It really did. Like I lost, I think 30 pounds in the first like month. And as soon as I stopped the keto diet, because I'm a steak and potatoes kind of guy. Like there's not a whole lot of food that I like, right?
Yeah.
White carbs is my downfall. And I will tell you that for the longest time, I was pre-diabetic, and now the doctor's saying, "Hey, you're diabetic," and my cholesterol's through the roof. My good cholesterol is low. My bad cholesterol's high, and she's like, "Well, you need." And like I said, I'm a steak and potatoes guy. I've always been very picky. I used to eat fish when I was younger. I don't eat fish no more. Like it's green vegetables. I eat green beans, but that's about it. When it comes to salad, I eat iceberg salad, which has no nutritional value at all. I don't use dressing in my salad, like so. It's just iceberg lettuce, carrots, cheese, bacon, um, maybe the red cabbage in there. But other than that, that's all I have in my salad. Every now and then, I'll put a scoop of like mayonnaise in there just to give it a little bit of different flavor profile. But most of the time, I just eat it dry like that. So now, now being 47, I am diabetic. I was at 240 something. Right now, I'm sitting about 230. And I know I need to lose. I want to get down to about 190. If I can get my 5'7" frame to 190, I think I can come off of the diabetic medicine, probably the cholesterol medicine, and all of that. But it's about, for me, I know I need to do it, but getting me to do it is another thing. And I guess like you had health problems that made you change the way you the intake of food that you took and stuff, or
Yeah.
that you ate, stuff like that. So, and I do agree with you that 90% of the doctors out there, they listen to you, but they don't care. They don't care what you say. They're going to diagnose you and say, "Well, this is what's wrong with you. You need this pill, this pill, this pill."
Yeah.
No, doc. But there are some doctors out there that actually genuinely care. You just got to find those doctors. Like I went and was talking to my primary care, and I had talked to other veterans, and they got Ozempic through the VA, right? And so I asked my primary care. She goes, "Well, we don't do that. The VA don't do that." I'm like, yes they do. No, we don't. And I'm like, okay, doc. So I just left it at that. But now I'm going to go back and be like, look, here it's written down that the VA will prescribe Ozempic or something of that nature. Now, do I think I want to go that route? Probably not. But if I had the option, and maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely know I need to. I know I need to lose some weight. Because I think I'm at 230, 231. It fluctuates. between 230 and 235 every day, depending on intake of water, how much water I drink, because I'm constantly drinking water. Like, I don't drink sodas. I gave up all the sodas. I drink sweet tea when I go out to restaurants, which is, maybe on a Friday night when it's not football season, because normally during Friday nights during football season, I'm at high school football. Um, and so I fast a lot, and I don't know if fasting works for me. Uh, so there was a comment on TikTok. That's why I keep looking over this side of the screen. So
Oh,
let's
you're
talk
good.
about let's talk about rise again from the struggle. Let's talk about that. What made you decide to do that, and what is your purpose behind it?
Yeah, a lot of it is just the reality is just helping people understand that they have more ability to determine their own life. It's like everything starts and ends in the mind and a thought, right? So like health issues, weight issues, all those things. Like it starts with the mind first. Like, and not saying that your mind controls whether or not you know get sick per se, right? Like not in terms of that, but say for instance with diet, right? Like most people say, like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. It's like, well, that's a thought right there, right? Like you're married to it because you've started from the beginning. You're taught as a child to uh, use food for celebration rather than understanding that food is a medium of what we sit around to do while we're celebrating. It's the people involved, not the actual food that we're celebrating. Food is just an easy thing to do, but you get attached to these foods emotionally that you do it. And right. And so, and just understanding how like the words and things we use just in general, right? How that then slides into different things too. So just all these things are all just mental skills that we can learn and adapt to different parts of our life, and really solve almost every single problem we have for the most part. Right? Like there's obviously, things that happen, but being able to control your mind and thought process when these things are going sideways, so to speak, keeps you in control of your life.
Right. So what I like about when you go to your homepage, and I'm gonna throw the link up here on the screen. It's from thestruggle.com. Um, what I like about when you go to your very first homepage, right? It says the only program where guaranteed results, 100% success every time. Are you ready for the transfer? Or are you ready to transform? And then it says unstoppable results begin here. And then if you scroll down just a little bit, right underneath of what clients say, let's see, it's a little bit down, about almost to the bottom of the page. It says, if I were taking from this world, would my family be all right without me? Now that could be translated in so many different facets when it comes to veterans, right?
Yeah.
Me personally, if I was taken from this world, I know that my wife, my two daughters, and my mom would not be okay. That's one of those things
Yeah.
that have always been in my brain, um, whether it's unaliving, whether it's dying of natural causes, whatever the case.
Yeah.
Because I literally my daughter who's in college, me and her were texting earlier today, and she said that I was her superhero. She's a freshman in college, and she said, I miss you, and she said, Daddy, you're my superhero. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what they would do if I wasn't here tomorrow. Which I
Yeah.
know tomorrow's never promised. I know that. So that right there is my motivation, saying, hey, you need to do something to turn your health around so that I can be here for the long term.
Yeah.
Because you never know. I mean, if it's an unexpected accident, that's an unexpected accident.
Right.
because like I said, tomorrow's not promised. But I'm going to do everything I can do to keep myself healthy so that I am here for the long haul.
Right.
So, Dr. Amy, how are you? She's amazing. She's on TikTok. I just want to give her a big shout out. So, you're a life coach, basically,
Yeah.
which you do a little bit of everything, but a life coach is some of the things that you do. Uh, did I see somewhere that you wrote a book? Did you write a book?
No, I have
No.
a like a PDF document I put together that kind of talks about some of the major things that helped me early on. But that might be what you're referring to.
Could be.
Yeah.
I've trust me. I've talked to so many people over the
Yeah.
course of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But that do you have a podcast? Is that what I'm seeing here on your homepage here? Podcast to elevate your performance.
Yeah. So I do like a daily. I kind of post it on everything, but it turns into a podcast. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about your podcast. So do you bring guests in to talk about their journey, or is it just you talking daily motivation kind of stuff?
Yeah, right now it's just daily motivation, kind of like a minute at a time. Sometimes I'll post like some longer stuff, but very rarely I'll do that. I think I have plans to do a little bit more of that though, kind of do more
Okay.
uh, longer
Okay.
content. So
Awesome. Awesome. So you've done Spartan races. So that's something that I've
yeah,
always thought about doing is doing
yeah,
Spartan races and stuff like that. Of course, I just had a total knee replacement back in October, and I'm not nowhere ready to run a Spartan race. I thought about doing Tough Mudders and stuff like that. I got friends that do, run the Spartan race, that do the Tough Mudders, but I don't know if I'm physically able to do that at the present moment in time. Eventually, I'd love to do one. It's a bucket list kind of thing for me.
mhm.
Um, and I'm hoping one of these days I'll be able to do that, but we'll see. We will see. So what's your experience like doing the Spartan race? How was doing that?
So the very first one I went to go do was with this one of the programs I went through, heroic coaching program, and that one of the requirements that they wanted you to do is go through a Spartan race. That's kind of how I got into them, and I wasn't able to get into it. I kind of saw something on my medical chart that kind of put my body into a tailspin again. It was right before I kind of really figured out the whole mind body connection, and my body just like I saw some comment in there like, oh, I didn't exactly, I perceived it as negative, I should say, and my body just started to shut down again, and so I couldn't make it to the finish or to the start line, and I decided at that point I was like I wasn't going to allow that to be the case forever. So I, started working with the physical therapist. This was after I started my stem cell treatments, and I started working with the physical therapist. Really started to rebuild my neck, and then I started paying. Sorry. So just so everybody knows, I'm struggling with words a little bit because I just got back from Switzerland. I was in France for a week and overnight stay in Switzerland, and I just got back at like 5 o'clock today. So I've been up for a while and traveling. So anyway, but I started working with a physical therapist, started going through this stuff and rehabbing, and I said I'm going to make the next Spartan race. So in that September. In September 2023, I did my first Spartan race, and my goal was just to be able to start. And I said, I don't know if I'll finish it, but I'm going to get to the starting line this time, and then I'll figure it out from there. I just keep going and see how I do. And I did. I was able to finish it. I had a guy I used to work with that I help out with this stuff too, and he ran it with me and just kind of helped me along. And then I said, hey, I'm going to do some more. And just as I got stronger, I started becoming more competitive. And I said, hey, you know what? So this year I started doing the competitive side. And Got in the top 10 of my age group the last couple of races on the 5K. I'm getting close on the 10K version. So
Nice.
but
Have you done?
if you can walk 3 to 4 miles, you can do a Spartan race. You don't have to do all the obstacles. If you're not on the competitive side, you can skip them. You can do whatever you want. Like they just want you to go out there and try. So if it's something you're interested in, just go out there and people help you. I mean, there's people in wheelchairs and stuff going through this, and there's guys that's literally carrying them through. So I mean, there's
Oh
ways
man.
that somebody can help you out. And you find a way. Like they'll help you find a way.
So have you done any Tough Mudders or anything like that, or is that something that's on your radar to do eventually, or are you just going to stick with the Spartan races?
I've only done the Spartan in terms of the obstacle courses. I ran a 5K, just a regular 5K on the 4th of July, and I did a triathlon sprint in June, beginning of June this year. That was kind of fun. I don't actually have a bike. I borrowed a bike from a guy I'm coaching. He was like, "Hey, you want to do it?" And I got 2 bikes. I'll let you loan mine. I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Let's do it then."
Oh man.
It's like I can't tell you to go do these things and then shy away from jumping on it too. So,
Heck yeah. Let's see. So let's ask this question. So you do a life coach and you got this program, right? Now, as veterans out there, let's say Will Stevens here with 1821 Productions. Let's say he messaged you and says, "Hey, I'm a veteran. I'm struggling with this. Is there a charge for veterans to go through your program? Is it free to veterans? Is it like what's the gist of it?"
yeah, it's not free, but definitely heavily discounted. And we can figure out something if we can figure things out, right? So if there's really something going on, it may not be if they really can't pay. We can maybe do some offhand stuff, but yeah, I definitely am willing to help out. I mean, I have the podcast and stuff I do. I put a bunch of stuff on Instagram, so just things to think about and ways to kind of start to use the stuff. I mean, I have put everything out there. It's just a matter of like how to incorporate it into yourself. That's a lot of the coaching side of it is how to individualize it, right? So like you have to talk, obviously do these things. You have to be a little bit more general, and you can't go into like the details completely unless without getting an hour plus each time, right? To really get into the stuff, but just start priming people so they can start doing them, and then that's a big help to start. So
Right. So right now I'm trying to get your link tree so I can put it in the chat here, so people can reach out and get in touch with you and follow you on all of your social media platforms. So the link is now in chat.
Yep.
It's right there on the bottom of the screen. Link tree. So it's www.linktr.ee/fromthestruggle8. And then when you go there, you can see coaching appointments and then podcast. You can follow him on Instagram, YouTube. You can email, also LinkedIn as well. And then you can follow. I think there's that's a QR code for the mobile side of things.
Yeah.
So definitely go give Mr. Kevin Brewer a follow. So is there anything that we haven't touched on that you might want to touch on before we get ready to end the show?
Yeah. So one of the things I do help with veterans though is especially at work. I've talked a lot of them into is like if you don't have your VA disability, like you need to go. Like a lot of people shy away from doing it for multiple reasons. A lot of people think that they're taking it away from somebody else. Like say somebody lost a leg, things like that. But what you don't realize, and I don't know, not everybody has the, when you go through whatever the TAP or whatever it is, the transition assistance program, whatever they call it now.
It's TAPS and steps, I believe.
Yeah. The guy we had that I had when I was getting out was really good, and he really put it into perspective. He's like, as soon as you sign on that dotted line, money is allotted for you for your disability. You're not taking money away from anybody. You're just not collecting your own. It's
Right.
already there for you. So take advantage of it. And another thing people always talk to, and I talk to several people, constantly, is that just because you deal with it and you overcome it and you just don't want to like complain about it doesn't mean it's normal. And that's the thing too is and if you have a clearance, things like that, people always like, I don't want to get these mental diagnoses if I have a clearance. They can't take it away. Like that's a myth. They just don't want to, to have to deal with it or whatever. Like I have a mental diagnosis, right? Like I had a couple other people that I work with just get their VA pay. Another guy actually just get his bumped up to 100% because he had PTSD. He didn't want to ever get it claimed because he was worried about it, and he went and got it. Right, so now he can actually start utilizing. And people think too, because like say like, well, you seem like you don't have this issue still. It's like, no, the reason I seem like that is because I use my VA disability pay to be able to eat the highest quality foods and to do this training and do these different things. And now I know how to overcome them. So you can't take it away, because if I lose that, right, like I can very quickly fall backwards, like, right, like some of the joint disability things I have. If I start eating like crap, it comes back with a vengeance really
Oh yeah.
fast. Right. So it's like the only reason it looks like I'm doing well, and not that I'm not, but the only reason I am is because I have that pay. So I can do the right things for my body. But as soon as I lose that, I have to start, take those hits. Right. So use that money then, not just to do whatever, use it to better your life, right? Like use it to buy higher quality foods, to get these diets, to do these things that you can figure this stuff out so that you can improve your life.
Yeah. So I was one of those. So I got out the first time in 2001. Then I got recalled back in after 9/11, and I didn't get out until
Mhm.
2004. Well, we didn't have the taps and steps classes. We didn't have those.
Yeah.
And so when I got out, I didn't know what about the VA. Like I knew the VA
Yeah.
was there, but I was lucky because I landed into a job that had medical, and a 401k. And as a Marine, we were taught, hey, don't go to sick call, don't go to sick call, don't go to sick call, don't report
Yeah.
that stuff. So I never did. And for the longest time, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. And still to this day, I very rarely go to the doctor unless, until a year and a half, actually almost 2 years ago, in the middle of 2022, I believe, in the middle of 22.
Yeah.
Um, I'm doing this podcast and I'm telling veterans, hey, you need to go to the VA. You need to, do all your stuff, right? And I wasn't going to the VA, so I kind of felt like a hypocrite to a certain extent. So I was like, all right, I need to go to the VA. My PTS has got worse. My anxiety's got worse. My hypervigilance has got worse. So I started the process.
Yeah.
Um, and the VA is designed for us as veterans to get frustrated, to quit, to
Yeah.
give up. Um,
Absolutely.
so I got started doing my process through the VA. Got my initial rating of 40% was my initial rating. So I got 10% for tetanitis, and then I got 30% for PTSD. And several people I had talked to and know my story
Hmm.
was like, "Hey, bro, they really underrated your PTSD." And I'm like, I do know that. I knew it was really low. 30% is the low ball of PTSD.
Hmm.
And so I started again, and I'm fighting the process, right? So went and did another CMP exam. I actually did two. One was a CMP for my PTSD, and then the other was just a general CMP exam about my ankles, my knees, my back, and literally I have no medical documentation of all of this. Um, my sleep apnea and stuff like that. There's nothing in my medical records, right? So I filed for the increase on my PTSD. They increased it to 50%. So now I'm sitting at 60% total, right? Um, Now it's a fighting game to continue that mission to get that 100% PNT. I don't want to go to the UA program or UI program because I am able to go out and work a full-time job. Now, granted, the job that I have is a job where I work by myself. I don't work with peers. I have peers, but we do our own jobs. Like I go out and I'm outside all day long. I don't have to deal with customers. I go out and I bury lines. That's all I do. So my normal job, I'm able to, if I'm having a bad day, I'm able to work through my bad day because I'm by myself and I'm able to process things that are going on in my personal life compared to and my work life as well. I'm able to process it on my own.
Yeah.
What's going on, Rich LaMonica? How are you, sir? From Misfit Nation and Mr. Ty Cobb from Triple Threat Vets. I want to give them a big shout out. So I'm able to process that, but
Yeah.
fighting the VA, which a lot of people say negative things about the VA, and I will tell you that VBS, which is the ones who does the rating, and the VA who does our health care, they don't really talk very well together,
Yeah.
right? So that's where a lot of veterans don't understand the struggle, of making sure you're using the right verbiage when you talk to the evaluators, your CMP examiners, using the right verbiage, because if you don't use the right verbiage, they're going to write it down and they'll be like, oh well, you I'm talking to you right now and you say you're fine, so I'm writing down you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
No, your best day is your worst day. That's how you have to look at it.
Yeah.
Don't sugarcoat and say, "Well, I'm fine," when you're struggling with your demons that you struggle with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Um,
That's not the time to have that, not have that ego, not have, to just show that pride, no, let that pride go.
yeah,
That's the
you
time to be that baby, right? Like, and not lie, but just be the baby. Like to say, no, you know what? No, there's something wrong. It's not
yeah,
normal.
definitely. Yeah. So I will tell you, definitely don't lie because the VA will catch you.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact because I had to go testify in court on a veteran that he was 70% rated normally through the VA, and then he got the IU program, and he created a nonprofit, and he wasn't working a job, he wasn't taking a paycheck, but yet he was still out
Yeah.
working 60 to 80 hours a week on this nonprofit. And the VA finally caught on to it. And I literally, after I resigned from the board, I resigned in 2020. And in 22, I had a knock on my door from a VA federal investigator knock on my
Mhm.
door and say, "Hey, we would like to talk to you about such and such and such organization." I'm not going to name no names, but
Yeah.
um, and I just sit there, and they had already been investigating him for a year and a half before they come knocking on my door, so they already knew a lot of the information already.
Mhm.
And I just told them what I knew. I didn't lie, didn't, over expand on it, but I just told the truth. I was like, then they talked to my wife. My wife basically, they put us in two separate rooms, and um, we both kind of had the same story of what we knew was going on.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, hey, guess what? You both have to go. Here's a federal subpoena. You have to go to court and testify.
Yeah.
Um, and so definitely what I'm saying is, and what Kevin is saying is, don't lie to the VA, but your best day is your worst day.
Yeah.
No matter if they ask you what kind of pain you're in, depending on um, depending on what pain level you're in. Like if you're dealing with knee pain, like I had a total knee replacement back in October. I was in pain every day. It was sometimes a 9, sometimes it was a 10. Um, and you know, it's just one of those things. You just got to
Yeah.
go there and you have to be honest and tell them what your pain level is and stuff like that, because they will write down. If you go in and you say, well, my pain level is a 2, then they're going to say, all right, well,
Yeah.
he has no pain. Um, so definitely do that, and I'll definitely go take care. You got to take care of yourself for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that you got to do, and you have to be your own advocate because
Yeah.
nobody else is going to advocate for you.
And the big one is a lot. I've all the people that I work with, that they shy away from wanting to have the mental health stuff, right? And it's like I'm telling you right now, like almost everybody in the military has some kind of mental health diagnosis they could get. It's not that it rules your life necessarily, but it kind of does, right? There's one guy I work with. He's like, I was sitting there talking to him, and I was like, he was like, I have to go into DC for X, Y, and Z, for whatever. And he's like, so I went and I scouted the route and I rode the metro in and this and this and that. I was like, dude, it's like that is not
Normal,
normal behavior. I was like, because you knew there might something go wrong and you would potentially freak out. Like you literally rode the train in on a day you didn't have to see how long it might take, how many stops, all those different things. Like that is behavior. That's like I'm guessing the things kind of make you mad quickly, like things like that. I was like,
hmm
you have to have these different adjustments around you, and people just don't think about that. They're just so afraid to admit it. And it's like, it's not saying that's bad per se. It's like, but that's not what normal society does. Like we have to understand that the service caused these things, this kind of paranoia in us, that if you get these treatment, you can go and get treatment for it, and not to cry about it and different things. Like I don't think just talk therapy, to me personally, I've never thought, especially for guys, it's not necessarily helpful. But you can then take this money and then actually get skills, like if you find the therapist actually works with it, or a coach or somebody that can help you actually learn a skill that actually can stop, not necessarily, you never necessarily stop having it, but you'll understand how to get out of it quickly.
right.
How to like I said with me, like my brain automatically goes to these things, but now I understand it. So now I can go like, it doesn't control my life anymore. Whereas it used to control my life. Now I can go like, okay, that's what it is. It's starting again. Let me quickly jump out of it, because now I can talk to it and not let
Right,
it ruin my life. Rather, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not that it's not there, but it doesn't control me anymore.
right. And that's the thing, is a lot of guys out there, they're like, oh, well, I, they say they're healed, right? But we all know that if you have PTSD, it never goes away. Like literally, mine is from 1999. Yeah, 1999, and it's more of a moral injury than PTSD. But moral injury leads into PTSD, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And literally, I still wake up in the middle of the night sweating from head to toe, um, because of the things that I saw when I was in Haiti. We were on a humanitarian mission in 1999, and we were told we were not allowed to interfere with the Haitian culture. Like literally couldn't go
Right.
in. If we saw something that was happening here in America, we would jump in and stop.
Right.
Down there, we were told not to interfere. And I don't want to go into the whole details and all, but there was 3 different instances that come to mind right off the top of the head, that as a 19-year-old, I should have never seen. Like I should have just never seen. And
Right.
uh, and still to this day, I literally, my wife will tell you, there's been times where I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm sweating from head to toe, and I'm screaming bloody murder. And she's like, "Bro, that's got worse," and it has got worse.
Yeah.
And luckily for this podcast, and I do see a therapist now through the VA, that has helped. Um, it has minimized. It hasn't eliminated, but it has helped minimize the symptoms of my PTS. My hypervigilance is still off the chain. My wife will tell you, I used to enjoy going to concerts, right? I love
Mm.
going to concerts. Now, if I do go to a concert, I have to sit on the end row. I can't sit in the middle because I feel claustrophobic, and my head's always on a swivel. Same thing with going in a restaurant. Like as soon as I walk in the restaurant, I scan the area and I know where my exits are. You know, my escape route. I know my escape route, and that's got worse. And they're literally, if we go to a restaurant and somebody's sitting in my ideal spot, I will say, "Hey, look, you need to get up." And if they don't get up, I leave. I just can't do it. It's just I can't. Um, but I've got better. Like we went to a football game and it was okay. Granted, we have in seats, so when my wife will know if we get tickets, I have to have the in seat. I can't be in the middle of the aisle. I have to be on the end. So it is what it is, and I'm dealing with it, and I'm never. I can tell you right now, I don't think I ever will be 100% healed. Where my hypervigilance and my PTSD, my anxiety will ever go away because but I do have tools in
Mm.
my toolbox that help me deal with it. Like I can feel myself when my anxiety level is rising. I can feel that and I can take myself out of that situation and go, walk away and calm down and then possibly come back. Um, it just depends. I mean, like,
Do you have a rating for your anxiety?
no, that's something that I'm fighting.
Yeah.
It's in my records now with the VA. So they gave me a 0% rating for my. Uh, so it's still a rating. It's just 0%. They gave me for rhinitis, sinusitis, anxiety. Right now, they denied. They denied my ankles, my knees, my back, because there's no medical records over the course of my military service or the first 20 years of getting out of the military. Um, so I'm working on getting all that. I'm working on getting nexus letters and buddy letters and all of
Mm.
that stuff. Like I might have a TBI from when we were in Greece in 2000. Um, Lance Corporal was driving a Humvee. Me and the guy across from me, we were in the back seat of the Humvee, like the end of the bench where the troop strap was. He went in this creek really, really fast. Me and the guy across, we went over top of the troop strap and fell into the creek. And I landed
Mm.
on my head and I was knocked out for 2 minutes. So, but we never reported it because that's what we were told not to do. So we never reported it. Um, but I'm still working, and literally, I tell people now, hey, going to the VA was the best thing I did. Um, for one, it's helping me deal with my triggers, and now I'm seeing a doctor on a regular, which I never did before.
Mm.
Um, Granted, I don't think my doctor is very. I don't like my doctor, my primary care. I really don't. I don't think I think she's just going through the motions because, like,
Yeah.
she was at the VA at one time. She retired, went to her own practice. Now she's back at the VA for the second time, and she's just there to be there to go through the motions.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I don't think she really cares about me as a veteran and the things because I went in there and I got a whole laundry list of things that I want to focus on. And all she could focus on right now is my diabetes. She don't care about nothing else. I'm like, Doc, these are things that I need to get seen for. I need you to push these through, get me referrals, whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, we only got 15 minutes with you. I'm like, 15 minutes? By the time your nurses get done with me and you come in and talk to me for 5 minutes, you're walking out the door.
Yeah.
Um, so there are things I love about the VA and there's things that I don't like about the VA.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I highly recommend all veterans out there go to the VA and start your process because we had a guy, Vietnam vet. never went to the VA ever. And we got him hooked up with the Roll Call Foundation. He went to the VA, and within a month, he was 100% rated from the VA.
Yeah.
So, and now he's getting all of his health care through the VA, and he's doing wonderful now. So,
Yeah.
but I hate to do it, but it is about that time, Mr. Kevin. I do
Yep.
want to thank you for coming on here and hanging out with me for this hour, talking about you and your struggles that you faced from your time in the military service and your career afterwards and what you're doing with Rise Again from the Struggle. Um, so if you're out there, you're watching this now, if you're listening to it later, whether you're listening to it on Reese Across America radio or you're watching it on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify, Amazon, go to fromthestruggle.com and check out what Kevin has created here. If you have questions, reach out to him. All of his link tree is in. Let me put it back up on the screen. It's www.linktr.ee/fromthestruggle8. Go check out his link tree. Follow him on all social media platforms. Go to YouTube, find From the Struggle on YouTube, and watch the little 1-minute videos, motivational videos, and informational videos that Kevin puts out there. But Kevin, I do know that you've been traveling for the last week, and I know it's about time for you to probably rest up a little bit and do some R&R before you got to get back into your busy schedule. But I do want to thank you again for coming on and hanging out with us here in HomeFront Sitrep.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
All right, brother, you have a good one.
Oh, you too. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Ladies and gents, how cool was that? I tell you, it was amazing. I didn't know how the story was going to go. I do know a lot about what I've seen, after doing my research on Mr. Kevin Brewer and Rise Again from the Struggle. It's super cool because it's a journey that I need to start on, this weight loss journey that I need to start for me personally, not because somebody told me I had to, but for me personally, it's something that I have to do. I want to thank all the people on TikTok that are watching and all the people here on that are watching it now and have came through. You guys are the reason why I do this podcast, the ones that come back weekly and watch our episodes. Tomorrow on Homefront Sitrep, if I remember correctly, we got Steve Zaley. Yeah, let me grab that book real quick because it's right here behind me. 1 second. So tomorrow we got Mr. Steve Zaley. He wrote the book here. They are only gone if they are forgotten. Man, if you look how big this book is. Now this is DOD approved, Army approved. It's about the 82nd Airborne as you can see at the top there. Man, this thing has all kinds of information in it. Steve Zaley is a amazing person, amazing author. This thing took forever to do. I mean, there's so much information in this book, and it's just super cool. So he'll be on tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time, like always. So yeah, come back tomorrow and check that out. Whether you're watching on TikTok, whether you're watching here on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching it, or listening to Spotify, Amazon, anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. Gunny's not here, but hashtag you're not alone. Don't let your dark days win. You have worth, self-value. And just remember that in the silence of your struggles, remember, though unseen, you're deeply held in the hearts of others. You are not alone. That's so true. There's so many veterans out there. They say 22 a day. It's more like 44 to 55 veterans a day become part of the 22. And the 22 is just a number, but too many of our brothers and sisters out there lose their battle. and that's something that we need to focus on. And that's where hashtag be someone stranger comes into play. Listen, if you're out and about and you see somebody and it looks like they're having a bad day, go up to them, say, "Hey, how you doing?" And if they give you the red flags, "I'm okay, I'm hanging in there, I'm living a dream," ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? And be ready for that conversation. It could be a 5-minute conversation. It could be an 8-hour conversation. You have to be like that. And then Ed Walters just said Steve is like no other. He's a good friend of mine and I'm a former 82nd uh 2505 paratrooper all the way H minus. Hell yeah, man. Well, make sure you tune in tomorrow, Mr. Ed, and thank you for coming on here and chit chatting and watching Homefront Sit Rep. And then right here, it takes a village. Listen, guys, this right here, this right here, this is your village, your phone. This is your village. Gunny talks about it all the time. That one of his friends said they do a cell phone roulette. They'll open it up to their contacts, go into contacts, they'll scroll up as fast and then hit stop, and whoever it lands on, that's who they give a call. They might not answer. If they don't answer, do it again. Scroll through, and it might be somebody that you haven't talked to in 6 years, but reach out to them and ask them how they're doing. You never know, that person on the other end could be thinking about unaliving themselves. So you definitely have to, go out and check on your tribe, your village. Big shout out to our partners. Let's take that off. Right now, scrolling across the bottom of the screen is the link for Reese Across America Radio. So that's www.reaseacrossamerica.org/radio. You can find Homefront Sit Rep on there Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. That's Thursday night, 11 p.m. Eastern. You can find Homefront Sit Rep on there. Big shout out to sameflagsameoath.com. Matt and Becky Johnson are amazing. The shirt that I'm wearing right now is actually same flag, same oath. Got your six culture. On the back it says iron sharpens iron. Amazing shirt. I wear it to church because it is something that is near and dear to me. Go check out homefrontsitrep.com. You got our shirt, our hat there. Our shirt is on there that says Marine It Down, which is a word play on keep it simple, stupid. Because us Marines, we love our crowns. So it's written in red crown, which is amazing. So go check out homefrontsitrep.com. And you can also see all of the amazing guests that we've had on Homefront Sit Rep over the last 2.5 years. February, oh man, it's coming up soon. February will be 3 years that we've been doing Homefront Sit Rep. So go check out homefrontsitrep.com. Big shout out to Elite Engraving that made this amazing Homefront Sit Rep hat. That's one of the things that's underneath of our merch section there on homefrontsitrep.com. And then go check out Valor Coins and Pins. If you know who Herschel Woody Williams is, who's a Medal of Honor recipient Marine, he's the Marine of all Marines. Go check out Valor Coins and Pins. That's the grandsons of Herschel Woody Williams. They make challenge coins and pins for veterans organizations. If you know anything about veterans, we love our challenge coins. As you can see, I got a whole slew of them right here. And then this is the Homefront Sit Rep coin. See if I can get it to zoom in on it a little bit. So there you go. So it's got hashtag be someone stranger. It's got the EGA because I am a United States Marine. Then it's got the American flag. And then on the back, it's got all the logos from all 6 branches. Then it's got the podcast on air, which glows in the dark, which is super cool. The on air glows green and the red around it glows red. And then over here, we got your hashtag, we got your 6. And it also is dual function because it's a bottle opener as well. The Valor Coins and Pins, if you order coins from them, that money goes in to help feed the Herschel Woody Williams Foundation, which they support Gold Star families from around the country. and they put up monuments in veteran parks across the country. So you can go to Herschel Woody Williams Foundation and check out all the areas that they have Gold Star memorials for Gold Star families. So go check that out. Heroes Media Group, Adam Bird and Heroes Media Group, they are phenomenal. So go check out heroesmediagroup.com. There's over 50 to 60 different veteran podcasters that are within the Heroes Media Group. So go check out Heroes Media Group. Military United podcast streams, man, there's a whole plethora of veteran podcasters on Military United podcast streams as well. So go check them out. But it is that time of night. I want to thank everybody for being on here and watching and coming back and hanging out with us every Sunday and Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. But like we always say on Homefront Sitrep, stay safe out there. We got your six. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.